Alright, so good day everyone. So welcome to our final na workshop for this semester. So this is very important no kasi once you will do now your business implementation too, we need to do yung proper na bookkeeping for you to of course record your sales. So for today, we are grateful no, na we have one of our accounting instructors sa department to train us no, on how to do basic bookkeeping that we can use for next sem. So, everyone, let us welcome no, Ma'am Kenji D. Kantala. Yan. So, okay. Hi, Ma'am Kenji. Are you there?
Thank you, sir. Hi, fourth year students, tama?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, sige. So, allow me to share my screen para makapagsimula na tayo. Okay na ba? So, nasi-share na ba yung screen natin?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you, sir. Okay, so I know that you have been through a lot of accounting subjects already. So, manina lang sa inyo yung pag-journal entry natin. So, I know you are already familiar with all the debits and the credits. So, ngayon, we will still deal with all the debits and credits. However, we will have a different approach. So, yung approach natin would be basic bookkeeping. However, this is in compliance with the um, Bureau of Internal Revenue. So this is for taxation purposes. So aware naman siguro kayo na once you start your own businesses, you will need to comply with all the government requirements. And one of those requirements, aside from all your business permits, is your taxation. So you need to file mga annual fees, and also you need to submit your financial reports to the Bureau of Internal Revenue, or BIR. So for you to be able to do that, you need to go back to your basic bookkeeping again. So let's have a review of the accounting theories, some of the accounting theories, and then later on, we will have a workshop on how to account the basic transactions that you will need later on when you conduct your own businesses. Okay, so we define here bookkeeping as the process of recording all financial transactions made by a business through the course of its business operations. So in short, para mas madaling maintindihan, bookkeeping is actually your way or a process of doing the business's diary. So bakit siya business's diary? It is because your daily transactions, lahat ng nangyayari sa araw-araw na operations ninyo, you need to record it with your books. So same with the concept of your personal diaries. So lahat ng nangyayari sa inyo, sa daily life ninyo, you are actually recording it in your personal diary. So that is the same purpose ng bookkeeping. Okay, so what is the importance of bookkeeping? Bakit siya importante? Bakit na hirap yung mga business owners, they still need to do this? Number one, it helps you catch more on tax deductions. So with bookkeeping kasi, part of the bookkeeping is keeping all of your records. So what are those parts of the record? So that includes your receipts, yung mga kontrata ninyo, lahat ng mga documents involved with your business. So kapag natatago nyo yung mga resibo na yan, pwedeng-pwede nyo i-claim yan as part of your deduction sa sales ninyo para mas mababa yung magiging net income ninyo. And with a lower net income, that means lower taxes. So, you need to compile and fix yung mga receipts ninyo. At the same time, you need to reflect it sa records ninyo. Number two, it helps you get a business loan. So, aware naman siguro kayo na when you apply for a loan, kahit sa personal loan nga yan kailangan nyo magpakita ng mga different papers that would support na yung claim ninyo na kaya nyo bayaran yung mga loans ninyo. So, same with business loans. So, you need to provide documents that would prove na kaya nyo bayaran yung mga business loans ninyo later on. So, one of the most important document that the banks or any financial institutions would require you is a financial statement. So when you are able to provide financial statements, mas malaki yung tiwala na maibibigay sa inyo ng bangko. Kasi at least may visible or may physical na data na nakikita sila from the results of your operations. Third, it helps you recover financial mistakes. So when you go on with your operations, there would be times na magkakamali kayo. So one example is in the case of your suppliers. So magdi-deliver si supplier, ang usual na ginagawa ninyo is binabayaran nyo yung supplies delivered after 3 days. Ngayon, nag-iba yung nasa counter. So hindi siya aware sa usapan ninyo na yun ng supplier ninyo. So when the supplier delivered the item, binayaran niya kaagad. Not knowing na may usapan pala kayo na 3 days pa lang pala yung bayaran. So later on, nung 3 days after nung delivery, may dumating na accounts receivable manager, for example. So siningil ka niya after 3 days. Ikaw naman, hindi mo alam na binayaran na pala nung nagtao sa cashier mo. So, binayaran mo ulit yung dineliver niyang item. So, ang nangyari dyan, 2 beses na bayaran yung item na na-deliver. So, if you don't have records during those transactions, hindi mo mapapansin na 2 beses na bayaran yung item. Whereas, when you keep your records with you, when you are doing bookkeeping, makikita mo later on. If you will review your records, mapapansin mo, ay bakit nagbayad na naman ako? And nabayaran na pala ito noong nagbantay yung nasa cashier mo. Okay, so you will be able to have a look on the transactions that happened on the past days. Lastly, it gives you a clear picture of where your money is going. So with your cash receipts and cash disbursements journal, as well as your general ledger and your general journals, andun lahat ng transactions. So nandun lahat saan pumunta yung mga perang nilabas mo. And andun din saan galing yung mga perang pumapasok sa negosyo mo. Okay? So those are the purposes of bookkeeping. So kanina pa tayo sabi ng transactions. So what are those transactions that you need to record in your books? So hindi kasi lahat ng nangyayari is recordable. What do we mean recordable? Nalalagay sa books ninyo. So there are some that we consider events and there are some that we consider transactions. So what's the difference between events and transactions? So with transactions, there are 3 characteristics that should be present. Number 1, it must be for a sum certain in money. What do we mean by it must be for a sum certain in money? Kailangan may value siya. Kailangan may amount may amount na involved. So for example, you had a inventory delivered in your business. So syempre, pag may inventory, pag may dineliver sa'yo, kailangan mo bayaran yung inventory na yun. So, magbibigay ka ng pera. And that is for a certain amount. So, it means there is money involved or there is value, there is money involved in that transaction. So, this is in contrary with an event. For example, you are hiring, for example, and then may lumapit na applicant. So, nag-usap na kayo. And then sabi mo, okay, sige, i-hire na kita. You are already part of this organization, sabi mo. So that is actually an event. Bakit event lang siya? Bakit hindi siya transaction? Dahil walang money na involved. Kasi tinanggap mo lang siya, pero walang any exchange of money. Kahit na napag-usapan nyo na ganito ang magiging sahod mo, still there is no money involved in that certain event. So it is not yet considered a transaction. Magiging transaction lang siya later on kapag binigay mo na yung sahod niya. So by the time na binigay mo yung sahod niya, may money involved na, then that is already recordable. Okay? So far, nakakasunod? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. Next, characteristic, it must be supported by a genuine source document. What are these genuine source documents? They can be official receipts, they can be contracts, they can be lease agreements, loan agreements, lahat yan, genuine source document yang mga yan. So when you claim that you have spent a 1,000 pesos for a certain supply, hindi yan papaniwalaan ng BIR unless you provide them a receipt. Okay? So it is important that you keep your receipts with you. Ang receipts, ang lifetime yan is 3 years. So kapag tinignan ni BIR na may claim ka na expense and then sabi mo may resibo ka kahit na after 3 years pa ay within the 3 years pa niya yan tinanong kahit after 2 years na karapatan niyang magtanong ng receipt. Kasi ang buhay ng isang resibo is supposed to be 3 years. So you should keep your receipts with you for 3 years. Okay? So, importante yan. Hanggat wala kang resibo, hindi maniniwala si BIR na gumastos ka ng ganong pera. And then, last characteristic, it must have two parts. There must be value received and there must be value parted with. So again, ang value received natin, kung ano yung natanggap natin. Value parted with, kung ano yung nabigay natin. So for example, a while ago, yung sinabi natin is some certain in money. So we can relate that with this one. There is value received and value parted with. So not necessarily na peso amount yung involved. It can be barter through barter system. So halimbawa, nag-deliver sila ng inventory sa'yo and then ang binigay mo is another part of your inventory. So that is possible. There is still value interchange. So may natanggap ka na inventory with a certain value and then may binigay ka rin na inventory na kapalit with a certain value as well. So it is not necessarily involving cash. Any questions so far? Wala pa naman. Okay, so next, we go back to our basic accounting equation. So there are three major elements in accounting. So we have here our assets, our liabilities, and lastly, our equity. So what are the examples of assets, liabilities, and equity? Babalikan natin yan later on. So with these three major elements, we have now our basic accounting equation, which is assets is equal to liabilities plus equity. So assets, these are what the company owns. So this involves your inventories and accounts receivable. Whereas yung liabilities natin, these are what the company owes to its suppliers. So yan yung kino-consider natin as part of our accounts payable. And then we have our bank and business loans. Also, we have yung mga mortgages at saka yung mga iba pang kautangan natin. And then last, we have our equity. So this pertains to any ownership a business owner and any investors have in the firm. Okay. So, ano ang ibig sabihin ng equation na to? Ibig sabihin nito, lahat ng assets, lahat ng pag-may-ari ng business mo, dalawa lang ang pinanggalingan yan. It's either naglabas ka ng sariling pera mo or from your pocket or inutang mo yung perang ginamit sa asset na yon. So, it's either utang lang yan or investment. Okay? So, we have here part of your assets. Your assets are divided into two. So we have your current assets and your non-current assets. So yung current assets natin, these have a span of or convertible into cash within the year. Whereas yung non-current assets natin, these are usually your long-term investment. So we have your fixed assets, we have your property, plant, and equipment, as well as your land. Then for liabilities, same, we have current and non-current. So we have accounts payable. So this usually involves your inventories. And then we have your non-current liabilities. So this pertains to your notes payable as well as your bank loans. And then lastly, we have your owner's equity, or these are your investments, your contributions to the business. So this is further increased by profits and decreased by losses or owner's withdrawals. Okay, so sabi natin yung equity, these are increased by profit and decreased by losses. So, paano natin na-derive yung profits natin? We have two accounts involved. So, we have your sales and your cost of sales. So, kapag involved ang inventories, ang mga physical products, we pertain to those as your sales. So, we have sales on rabbit meat, for example, sales on coffee, sales on your ano ba yung mga usual na products ninyo. So actually these are more on agricultural products. And then kapag naman service yung binibenta mo, we call that your revenue. So we have yung mga entrance fees, tour guide fees, mga rental fees, and yung training fees. So also, here are your cost of sales. So we have here yung mga purchases natin. Kapag involved ka naman sa manufacturing, you have your direct labor, your direct materials, and your manufacturing overhead. Lastly, for our operating expenses, ito naman yung sa general expenses natin. So this involves your expenses to your um, sales department, sa mga office ng mga negosyo natin. So we have here your advertising or marketing expenses, your delivery or transportation expenses, utilities, rents, and other expenses. So what are the usual key activities in a business na nire-record natin sa ating books of account? So we have here yung input ng initial investment. So yan, nire-record natin yan. We also have yung registration ng businesses. Also, acquisition of assets, purchase of materials. Then, during our operations, we record now yung sales natin at saka mga operating expenses natin. So, that includes yung utilities, yung labor, taxes, at saka licenses ng negosyo natin. Okay, so I have prepared a Excel sa, I think Sir Carl sent yung Excel file sa inyo. So may I ask everyone to access yung Excel? Kasi mas maiintindihan natin yung bookkeeping kapag tayo na mismo yung gumagawa. So para hindi nakakaantok, let us work on our own Excels, considering our own existing businesses, considering our own planned businesses. Okay, so yung Excel na sinend ko sa inyo is actually a copy of the actual ledger, journal, and the columnar notebook. So ito, yung ledger natin, and then yung journal natin. So it is flashed in your screen. So kapag if you are going to do your books, you need to buy these two journals. And then, here is your columnar notebook. So, ang recommended na gamitin is your 10 columns. So, available to sa mga suppliers ng school supplies. So, you need two columnar notebook. That is for the cash disbursement journal and for your cash receipts journal. So, all in all, you are supposed to have 4 books. So, 1 ledger, 1 journal, and 2 columnar notebooks. So yan, bago mo gamitin, kailangan mong isubmit muna sa BIR. So kapag sinubmit natin yan sa BIR, tatatakan yan ng BIR. So we have here a sample stamp from BIR. So that shows yung signature and yung mismong stamp ng BIR. So you need to fill that up, name of taxpayer, TIN number, your business address, and yung taxable year. So this should be filed before the start of the next accounting year. Okay, Okay, lahat na ba is may access na sa Excel? Anyone from the participants? May access na ba tayo sa Excel natin? Hello?
Yes.
Yes po, ma'am.
Thank you. Okay, sige. So, dito, there are 3 vacant rows sa topmost part ng ating journal. So, the first row here, the highlighted one, this is for your business name. Okay? So, this is for your business name. And then, yung second row, dyan mo isusulat kung ano yung journal na yan. So, for our case, this is our general journal. Okay, so let us say we have MKB Marketing Incorporated. So Michael Kors daw yan, sabi ni Sir Carl. And then we have here our general ledger. After that, the third row is for the year ended yan. So for the year ended December 31, 2021. Okay. So yan yung purpose ng tatlong rows sa taas, sa pinakataas. So we have here your money column for your debits. And we have here your money column for your credits. So ito naman is for the date. And then this one is for your particulars. So what do we mean by particulars? So these are your cash, yung mga account titles natin. So we have cash, accounts receivable, accounts payable, lahat ng mga elements na nabanggit ko kanina. So for the date, dito yung month, and then dito yung day. Okay? So the use of money columns, we have here yung pinakagilid. This is for your cents. And then this is for your ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, 10,000s, 100,000s, and this is for the 1 million plus na amounts. Okay? So far nasundan? Sorry, this is supposed to be general journal. Okay. So kung may tanong kayo, just feel free to unmute and then ask your questions para masagot na natin kasi baka hindi natin mabalikan mamaya. So that is for the general journal. Then yung general ledger naman natin, ito siya. So same as the general journal, okay, we have a space here. So itong space na to is for the account title. So for example, we have cash. So this whole ledger, itong na-highlight na to, is for cash transactions only. So same, we have here your date, your description, PR. PR means post reference. So usually, we put a tick mark or check mark here kapag nag-reflect na siya sa ating worksheet. So here is the money column for debit. And then here is the money column for credit. Okay? So this one is for specifically for cash only. And then this one, we have another one. So we can put accounts receivable, for example. Okay. So, ganyan. So, this ledger is also for accounts receivable only. So, lahat ng accounts receivable, dyan dapat magre-reflect. Then, we have our third book. We have cash receipts journal. So, as a while ago, we copy that for our first 3 rows. So, ito, palitan lang natin ng cash receipts journal. Okay? So, we have there your cash receipts journal. So, sa cash receipts journal naman, dito mo nire-record lahat ng natatanggap mong cash. So, automatically, this is a debit to cash and then a credit to another account title. So, yung debit to cash na yan, hindi mo na siya i-record. Yung credit na account title, yun ang i-record mo. So, kung ano man yung mga credit na account titles na yan, yan yung magiging header mo dito sa highlighted parts na yan. Okay? So, again, I'll repeat. This is a automatic debit to cash. Okay? So, for example, we have a transaction kung saan magbabayad ka ng office supplies mo. So, that is a debit to cash and then a credit to office supplies. So, automatic, debit na yung cash natin. So, ang credit natin, office supplies. So, we put that as a header dito sa isang column natin. Okay. So, eto na yung credit niya. So, automatic part na siya ng ating header. So, that is the purpose of these headers here. So, kung ano yung credit ng cash natin, yan yung ilalagay natin dito. Okay, so next we have yung cash disbursement journal natin. So, same again, lagay natin yung pinaka-heading natin. We have MKB Marketing Incorporated. And then, we change this one to cash disbursement journal. Ang cash disbursement journal naman natin, maglalabas tayo ng pera. So, that is a disbursement. So, this is an automatic credit to cash. Okay. So, automatic credit to cash na yan. So, kung ano naman yung debits natin for these transactions, yun naman yung ilalagay natin as part of our headers. So, any transaction na mag-i-involve ng credit sa cash. So, ano ba yung mga pinagkakagastusan natin na naglalabas tayo ng pera? Sorry. Balikan natin si Cash Receipts Journal. Si Cash Receipts Journal, nakatanggap tayo ng pera. So, this usually involves yung sales natin. So, that is a debit to cash and then a credit to sales. Sorry for that. Okay. So, sales ang isang transaction natin dito. Nakabenta tayo. So, nakatanggap tayo ng pera and then magre-record tayo ng sales natin. And ang normal na side ng sales is we have your credit. So, to record our sales, we have a debit to cash and a credit to sales. So, kapag ni-record natin siya sa cash receipts journal natin, automatic debit to cash na siya, So, isusulat na lang natin as part of our header yung sa sales natin. So, that is the credit to sales. Ngayon, sa cash disbursement journal, kapag maglalabas tayo ng pera, we record it as part of your cash disbursement. So, that is an automatic credit to cash. So, sample transaction here is your payment to your utilities. So, we have, for example, water bill. Maglalabas ka ng pera. So, to record our payment for water bill, we have a debit to water bill or utilities expense and a credit to cash. So, dito sa cash disbursement journal, automatic credit to cash na siya. So, i-record na lang natin yung debit natin. So, ito, yung account title natin, water bill, and then we just put the amount here. So, later on, isa-summarize na natin yan. Yung 4 na libro na to, isa-summarize na natin siya dito sa ating worksheet. So, what are the accounts involved? So, sabi natin kanina, meron tayong sales. Meron tayong water bill. Okay. So, madami pa yan later on. Dadagdagan pa natin yan. But for now, we have to deal with sales and our water bill. So, sa balance sheet natin, ano yung mga kino-consider natin sa balance sheets natin? We have yung mga increases sa assets, sa liabilities, and we also have yung sa mga movements ng ating equity. So for sales, saan ba nagre-reflect si sales natin? Is it part of your balance sheet or part of your income statement? I think na-discuss naman siguro sa inyo yung mga financial statements, ano? So for our sales, that forms part of our income statement. So dito mag-a-appear lahat ng debit sa, summary ng debit sa sales natin and summary ng credit sa sales natin. Okay, so we have here, reflect siya sa debit or sa credit natin. And then another one, we have our water bill. This is an expense. So that is a utility expense. So ibig sabihin, lahat ng expenses natin, nagre-reflect din sa income statement natin. Diba? So ang nagre-reflect sa income statement natin, yung sales natin at saka cost of sales, pati yung mga operating expenses natin. So those are the accounts involved para makuha yung net income natin. Okay, now I want everyone to unmute. And then let's start doing our books. So may I request the participants to unmute? Okay lang, kahit marinig ko yung mga tilaok ng manok, yung mga kahol ng aso.
Oh, let's unmute, guys.
Na. Okay, so Miss Althea.
Yes
What
po.
is the name of your business?
Brew culture, ma'am.
Okay, kayo yung sa brew culture. That's K or C? K ba yung culture ninyo or C?
Ma'am?
C, yung culture or K?
C, ma'am. Tapos double O. Parang cool, tas
Okay. So, tama na? Brew culture. Tama?
Apo.
Okay. So, we have brew culture as our example. Okay, palitan na natin si Sir Carl. Okay. So, nung nag-start kayo ng brew culture, ano yung unang ginawa ninyo?
Ano pa lang, ma'am? Planning. Nung nag-start ko, planning pa lang naman po.
Start to plan. So,
Okay.
you plan for your setup, mga ganon.
Apo, yung mga i-offer na products.
Okay. So, nung nagplano kayo, is that already considered a transaction or an event?
Event pa lang ma'am siya kasi hindi pa po kami, wala pa pong money involved dun sa business.
Okay, very good. Thank you. So, another one, we have Miss Althea. Kindly volunteer for the next participant.
Um, wait po. Ma'am, si David na lang po.
Okay, Mr. David Cumnad. So, sabi ni Miss Althea, ang first daw na procedure na usually ginagawa sa negosyo is planning. So, after planning, what is the next step?
What we do, ma'am, is we try, yun na po yung nag-try po kami ng product.
Nag-try
Ginawa
kayo ng products. So, nag-try kayo gumawa ng mga products.
Ginawa po namin yung actual product na ibebenta namin.
Okay.
Involved na po yung
Okay. So, nag-start na kayo mag-develop ng sariling product ninyo, di ba? So, nag-experiment kayo. So, is that an event or a transaction?
for me, transaction, ma'am, since involved na po ang money, may costing na pong nangyari.
Okay. So, that is already a transaction. So, what do you call that one? That is part of your research and development expenses. Tama ba, Mr. Gumnad?
Yes.
Okay. So, what are the books na gagalawin natin? What is the book na gagalawin natin? Would that be cash receipts or cash disbursement? Mr. David Cumnad, hindi ka pa tapos.
Sorry, sir. Cash receipts. Not sure.
Cash receipts? Diba sabi natin, cash receipts kapag may natanggap kang cash. Pero kapag naglabas ka ng pera, that would be cash disbursement. Tama? Asan na si
Yes.
Mr. Gumnad?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so we will work with cash disbursement journal. And that would be research and development. Okay, magkano yung estimate mo na ginastos mo for that research and development?
For yung product po na ginawa,
Yes.
last month po. Mga party and everything, umabot din po kami ng 1,000 plus.
1,000 plus.
Yes po.
So, let's assume nasa 1,200.
Yes po, mga ganun po, ma'am.
Okay. So, under the header na research and development, ilalagay natin dito yung amount ng money involved. So, we have here 1,200 pesos. Ngayon, dito sa particulars niya, this is supposed to be for the receiver ng pera. So, kanino ka nagbayad ng 1,200? Ngayon, kung different suppliers yan, you can put there various suppliers. Pero kung very specific, kung kanino ka nagbayad, for example, you have Chongchan, then you can put Chongchan sa particulars natin. Okay?
Yes po.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Gumnad. Volunteer for the next participant. Mr. Gumnad, sinong i-volunteer mo for the next?
Bernally na lang po. Yung nakikita ko next sa akin.
Okay, Miss Berna. After the research and development, ano yung another important activity na ginawa ninyo?
Ma'am, again po.
After research and development, ano yung next step?
Research development. Naghanap po ng mga pwedeng i-supplies po.
Naghanap kayo ng pwedeng suppliers ninyo? Tama ba? Ano ulit?
Yes po. Yes po, ma'am.
Okay, so naghanap kayo ng mga
Naghanap po ng mga pang isusupplies po.
ng mga isusupply. So, you mean part of your inventories? Supplies na ibebenta ninyo or supplies na gagawin yung raw material? Miss Bernalyn? Okay, so I'll go back to Mr. David
Yes po,
Gumnat.
ma'am.
Okay, sige. So, naghanap kayo ng supplier for sa raw materials natin. So, is that considered an event or a transaction?
Both po, ma'am. Mga ibebenta po at saka yung mga ibebenta po, ma'am, at saka yung mga gagamitin po.
Oh, okay, sige. So, is that an event or a transaction? Okay, I think nawalan ng signal si Miss Bernalyn. So, I'll go back to Mr. David Cumnad.
Yes, ma'am.
So, ano yung sinabi ni Miss Bernalyn? Is that an event or a recordable transaction?
Event po.
Okay, so that is an event. So, it is not recordable sa ating books. So, what is the next
Event
activity?
pa lang po, ma'am.
Okay, sige. So, ano ang next activity na involved? Mr. David Gumnad, kindly give the name of the next participant.
Wait, ma'am. Ano ba yun? Ma'am, next po sa kanya is Caesar.
Sino?
Caesar Balas po nakikita ko next one.
Si Sir Balas. Akala ko si Sir Carl. Mr. Balas, Cesar. After looking for a supplier, ano na ang next step natin sa ating negosyo? Mr. Balas? Asan na? Asan na si Cesar? Wala, babalikan ulit kita, Mr. Gumnad. So after ng paghahanap ng ating supplier, what is the next key activity that we need to do for our business? Mr. Alfred Gumnad.
Ma'am,
Okay, so anong sunod na activity natin?
after nung kay Bernalyn, ma'am?
Yes. So,
Product testing na ba, ma'am?
product testing.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so what do you do when you do product testing?
Ma'am, andun pa rin yung yung titikman mo, ma'am, yung iba't ibang variation ng in-experiment yung product. Kung ano yung mas
Okay.
better, ganun.
Okay. So, is that a transaction or event?
Ma'am, transaction na yun kasi naglabas ka na ng pera at nagawa mo na yung product.
Okay. So, since naglabas ka ulit ng pera and that is still for the development of your product, that is still part of your product research and development. Tama?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So, we will put another value under our research and development. So, magkano yung nagastos ninyo? Sir Carl?
Ma'am, sa amin ma'am, sa amin ba yung product mismo natin?
Yes,
Ma'am, estimated ko nasa 2K.
2,000. Okay, so
Yes,
we
ma'am.
will put 2,000 under our research and development. Okay, so tapos na tayo sa ating mga research and development. So we are now ready to launch our business. So when we launch our business, what is the first step that we need to do? Mr. Alfred, volunteer the next participant.
Ma'am, wait, sige ma'am, maghanap ako ng malupit.
Galingan mo kung ayaw mong bumalik sa'yo.
Ma'am, nakikita ko si Grace Lim.
Okay, Miss Baloke, Grace Lim. So we are now ready to launch our business. So what is the first thing that we need to do? So nakapag-research and development na tayo, nakapaghanap na tayo ng supplier, so okay na tayo sa pre-preparation natin. So what is the next thing that we need to do when we launch our business? Miss Grace Lim? Okay, Mr. Alfred Gumnan. Anong sunod?
Ma'am, sinasadya na yata.
Mr. Gumnan, what is the next step?
Ma'am, nagsisilib oh. Ma'am, introduce the product.
Tapos na nga.
Ay,
Nag-product
tapos na ba?
testing ka na nga. So, ready to launch ka na. So, before launching your business, before starting your business, ito yung pinaka-importanting dapat gawin. So, ano yun?
Ma'am, kung saan yung location nung mo, ibebenta mo?
Location. So, after location, ano pa? Miss Jaylene, you are raising your hand?
Ma'am?
Yes, you are raising your hand, Miss Jaylene. What
Yes,
is
ma'am.
the next important step for you to be able to launch your business?
Business registration po.
Okay, business registration. So when we register our business, what are the government agencies involved?
Ma'am, BTI and sa LGU po for business permit.
Okay, DTI, LGU, and kakasabi ko lang kanina, we also
BIR
have
po.
yung BIR. Yes. Okay, so what are the account titles involved with our registration of business? Ano yung accounts involved dito? So first, we have your
License.
licenses. Okay, yes, we have your licenses. And then for BIR, we have taxes. So for licenses, magkano yung babayaran natin for our license? For licenses? Asan na
Ma'am,
si Okay,
Ma'am, ang
yes.
binayaran namin sa DTI for municipal, ma'am, is 500.
So that is 500 for DTI.
Yes po.
Okay. How about sa, ano pa bang ibang government agency?
Ma'am, hindi pa po kasi kami
Register sa municipal?
register sa LGU, ma'am.
Okay. So but we will assume na lang na nag-register tayo. So that we have our LGU here. So licenses, let's estimate that to be at 1,500. Although mababa actually to 1,500, but let us assume na 1,500 muna. And then next we have our registration with BIR. Okay? So we have registration, annual registration is at 500. So let's put it at 600. Baka may tanungin na documentary stamps at ibang other needs. Okay? So after registering our business, we have to do now our operations. So Miss Jaylene, who do you volunteer?
Wait lang, ma'am. Ma'am, si ano na lang po, Miss Dulay.
Okay, Miss Dulay. Yes, Miss Dulay.
Ma'am, next na ginawa namin is nagpa-print po ng uniforms, ma'am.
Nagpa-print ng uniforms. So,
Uniforms po.
yes. So, what is the book involved with that one? Is it cash receipts journal or cash disbursement journal?
Cash disbursements po, ma'am.
Okay. So, that forms part of what account? Part ba yan ng ating marketing?
Marketing po, ma'am.
Okay. So, we will create another account. So, we have here marketing. Okay, so we have a header for marketing now. So, ilalagay natin dito. Kanino nyo binayaran yung t-shirt na yan?
Ma'am, various suppliers po.
Various suppliers yan. Okay, so how much did you spend for that marketing strat?
Ma'am, 4,000 po for 4 persons.
Okay, so that's at 4,000 pesos. Ngayon, magbebenta na tayo. Mag-start na tayo magbenta. So we are now ready to sell our products. So we need to record sales. So halimbawa, nakapagbenta tayo kay Mr. Gugnat. What is your product, Miss Lady? Ay, Miss Dulay? Kayo yung veggie, di ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So what is your estimated daily sales? What is your estimated daily sales?
Ma'am, 2,000.
2,000. Okay, so let us put sales ng 2,000. Ngayon, halimbawa, nakabenta ulit tayo kay Miss De La Cruz. Kaso, yeah. So nakabenta tayo kay Miss De La Cruz ng worth 3,000 kasi namigay siya sa mga kapitbahay niya ng products. And then, nakabenta din tayo kay yung kanina, Miss Baloke. Kaso yung benta natin kay Miss Baloke, hindi niya binayaran in cash. Inutang niya. So, where do we put our sales with Miss Baloke? Saan natin yun i-record? Is it part of our cash receipts or cash disbursement? Or is it part of our general journal? Miss Brita Lewis. Saan natin i-record yung sales natin with Miss Baloke? So, we had a transaction. So, nakabenta tayo ng veggie noodles kay Miss Baloke. However, hindi niya binayaran in cash. So, inutang niya muna. So, paano natin to i-record? And saan natin siya i-record? Will it form part of your general journal, your cash receipts journal, or your cash disbursement journal? Miss Brita? Sino pa ba yung participants natin dito? Miss Dulay. Okay, so since wala pang cash na involved, we will record this as part of your general journal. Kasi hindi siya pwede sa cash receipts journal dahil wala nga tayong natanggap na cash. So we record it in our general journal. So we have here accounts receivable kay Miss Miss Baloke. So, importante na nilalagay natin kung kanino accounts receivable yan. Kasi kung sabay-sabay na nangutang yung mga customers natin, mahilo na tayo kung sino yung nagbayad later on. So, we record it as accounts receivable, then dash to Miss Baloke. Okay, so after that, we record a credit to sales. So, as mentioned, in your basic accounting, ang credit natin dapat indented yan. So, there's a difference na kahit one tab lang from accounts receivable na linya. Okay, so we have here accounts receivable and then credit to sales. So, this is our debit money column. So, we have here 2,000, for example. 2,000 and then pesos. So, since walang 50 cents, so ganyan lang siya, 2,000. And then same, we record it to our credit money column, yung sa sales natin. So, that's at 2,000 as well. Okay. So, ngayon, after ng 3 days, nagbayad na si Miss Baloke. So, how did we record yung payment ni Miss Baloke? Miss Cybrine, how do we record yung payment ni Miss Baloke? Miss Cybrine? So, after 3 days, nagbayad na siya. How do we record it?
Ma'am, cash receivable?
Cash receivable? Cash receipts. Sa cash receipts
Yes.
journal tayo. Tama, di ba? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So, since tatanggap tayo ng pera, dun tayo siya sa cash receipts journal mag-record. So, how do we record yung cash receipts? So, sa cash receipts natin, automatic debit to cash na yan. So, what would be our credit? Mag-credit tayo kay accounts receivable. Kasi tatanggalin na natin yung utang ni Miss Baloke. Tama? So, since sa general journal, na-record na natin yung sales natin, na-record na natin yung sales natin, and nag-record tayo ng accounts receivable, pagdating sa cash receipts journal, hindi na tayo mag-record ng sales. Kasi mauulit siya kapag i-record ulit natin. So, okay na tayo dito sa recording niya sa general journal. So, pagdating sa cash receipts journal natin, i-recognize na lang natin yung cash receipts as payment for accounts receivable. So, we make another heading here, accounts receivable. Okay. So, that is another credit heading. So, accounts receivable, yung na-record natin dito is at 2,000 pesos. So, same, 2,000 credit to accounts receivable. So, at least na-record na natin yung pagtanggap natin ng cash and na-record na natin yung pagtanggal natin ng accounts receivable sa account ni Miss Baloke. Okay, so those are the normal transactions involved in operating a business. So may nakalimutan pa ba tayo? Ano pa ba yung ibang transactions as we go with our operations? Miss Cybrine, volunteer.
Ma'am, sino ba? Ma'am, Miss Orian?
Okay, Miss Orian. What is the next key activity that we need to do in our operations? After nating nag-register, after nating makabenta, ano pa yung mga ibang transactions na involved? As we go on with our business operations. 5, Okay, Miss Cybrine. So ano pa? Ano yung next transaction?
Yes, sir.
Miss Cybrine, what's the next transaction? Ano pa ba ang mga nakalimutan natin? So we have our water bill here. We have research and development, licenses, taxes, marketing. May isa pa tayong nakalimutan. As part of your key activities, you actually need to buy some of your equipments, di ba? Okay, so when we buy an equipment, we reduce our cash. So maglalabas tayo ng pera. So we will go now with our cash disbursement journal. So from that, we record again another header. So we have here equipment. Sabihin na natin ang equipment natin is at, sabihin na natin 3,000. So for our equipment, we would spend 5,000 for example. Okay, so andyan na. Meron na tayong mga assets, meron na tayong mga expenses, and we are also able to record our sales and some of our accounts receivable. Okay, so we can also encounter having a loan as we go through our business. So pwede din na mag-record tayo ng loan natin. So kapag nag-loan tayo, makakatanggap tayo ng cash. That's why we have here cash. We will use our cash receipts journal. So meron tayo dito business loan. So sabihin natin kay BDO tayo. We have here at 10,000. And then we also have personal investment. So with our personal investment, sino na yung nag-start ng Blue Culture? Sabihin na lang natin si Miss doon. Okay, so we have personal investment, 10,000 as well. Lakihan na natin. Okay, so we have now our investments, our loans, then meron na tayong records for our sales, and yung accounts receivable natin. So from our cash receipts journal, our cash disbursement journal, and our general journal, ita-transfer na natin yung mga transactions na na-record natin dito to our general ledger. So first, we have our first ledger here. We have our cash. So balikan natin yung cash receipts journal natin and cash disbursement journal natin. So we total this one. So kunin natin yung total nito. Wala pala tayong nilagay for our water bill. Okay, so kunin din natin yung total nito because this would be our total cash disbursement. So we have here our totals. So take note of these totals kasi ito yung i-reflect natin sa cash as a general ledger natin. So, unahin natin dito, yung first na ledger natin is we have cash. So, from our cash receipts journal, ang total na receipts natin for our cash is at 32,000 pesos. So, we go back to our general ledger. Pwedeng ilagay mo doon. You can actually put this total already sa first line natin. So, lagay natin from sa description natin from CRJ. Pwedeng ilagay na natin yung total that is at 32,000 pesos. Ganyan. So, pwedeng ganyan siya na ilalagay mo na yung total. However, kung gusto mong makita kung saan galing yung cash na yan, yung gusto mong isa-isahin siya na mag-appear sa general ledger, you can also do that. So, pwede mong ilagay dito. For example, hiwalay ko lang muna. So, sales. Ang total ng sales natin is at 5,000. So, pwede mong ilagay na 5,000. And then, yung next is accounts receivable at 2,000. And then, we have business loan at 10,000 and personal investment at 15,000. Okay. So, andun na yung sa cash receipts journal natin. I-reflect na natin siya. So, next one, we have from our cash disbursement journal. So, ito naman, sabi natin kanina, automatic credit to cash siya. So, dapat sa credit column natin siya ilalagay. So, we have here, water bill at 380. So, water bill, 380. So, ganun lang yung gagawin natin. Ika-transfer lang natin yung mga data dito. And then research and development, 3,200. Okay. Next, we have licenses at 2,000. And then taxes at 600. We have marketing at 4,000 and equipment at 5,000. Okay, so andyan na-record na natin lahat ng transaction natin involving cash. So check natin sa general journal, may involve ba ang cash, may account ba tayo dyan na involve ang cash? Wala. So, okay na tayo. Balik tayo dito. And then we get the totals of each side. We have here 32,000 on our debit side. And then we have 15,180 on our credit side. So, kung saan yung mas mataas na amount, doon natin ilalagay yung balance natin. So, since mas mataas yung nasa debit side, dito natin ilalagay yung balance. So, that is 32,000 minus 15,180. So, as of the year end, we have 16,820 as a balance for our cash. Okay, so after doing this, you need to check yung sa actual cash balance mo. So, i-add mo kung magkano yung cash on hand mo, i-add mo kung magkano yung cash in bank mo. So, dapat magtutugma yan dito sa records natin. So, since we have 16,820 on our records, dapat kapag pinag-add mo din yung lahat ng cash mo, you would have 16,820. Kapag may difference sa amount na yan, ibig sabihin, may error. It's either sa records mo or may error sa cash keeping mo. For example, sa petty cash mo, halimbawa may hindi ka binalik na sukle, ganun. So, hindi siya nabilang sa cash count mo. So, supposed to be, magtutugma dapat yung on hand mo at saka yung sa libro mo. So, next, after yung sa cash natin, we have accounts receivable. So, kanina, balikan natin si General Journal. Nag-record tayo ng debit to accounts receivable ng 2,000. So, we have here, Miss Baloke, debit ng 2,000. Sa General Journal, hanapin lang natin lahat ng accounts receivable natin. And then after that, punta tayo kay Cash Receipts Journal. So, meron ba tayong accounts receivable? Meron. So, we have here a credit to accounts receivable for 2,000 pesos. So, balikan natin siya dito. Miss Baloke again. Credit at 2,000 pesos. Total niyan is 2,000. Total is 2,000. Ang balance natin is 0. Okay? So, for our accounts receivable, closed na siya kasi 0 yung balance. So, hindi yan magre-reflect sa ating balance sheet. Okay, next, we have, balikan natin si journal. Accounts receivable, meron na tayo. So, next, we have our ledger for our sales. So, we have here our header, sales. The description natin, sales natin, may credit tayo at 2,000. So, sales, credit at 2,000. Kung pwede mo ilagay dito, Miss Baloke. Okay. So, since na-record na natin lahat nung nasa General Journal, we go back to our Cash Receipts Journal. Meron tayong sales dito. We have 2. So, we have Mr. Gumnad and Miss De La Cruz at 2,000 and 3,000 respectively. So, we have sales, Gumnad, sales, De La Cruz, 2,000, 3,000. Okay? So, balik ulit tayo. Okay na tayo. And then for cash disbursement journal, meron ba tayong involving cash? Sales? Wala. So, ito na lang yung data natin for our sales. So, we sum up. We have total of 7,000 for our sales. So, tapos na tayo kay accounts receivable, tapos na tayo kay sales. We have here sales, tapos na, accounts receivable. So, next, we have business loan. Okay, so balikan ulit natin si General Ledger. We have here business loan. Okay. So, ang business loan natin, we have here 10,000 from BPO. May kasama pa ba yung business loan natin? Wala na. So, yan lang. So, we have here balance at 10,000. So ano yung next na ledger natin? Miss Cybrine? Anong account yung next na ledger natin?
Ma'am, personal investment.
Personal investment. So magkano?
15,000.
Saan natin ilalagay siya? Is it sa debit or credit?
Credit. Wait lang.
Andito siya. CRJ, Cash Receipts Journal. So kapag nasa cash
Sa
receipts,
credit po.
sa credit siya. Okay. So sabi natin, pag sa Cash Receipts Journal, automatic debit to cash. Tapos yung mga account heading natin dito is credit. So personal investment, credit at 15,000 pesos. Personal investment, 15,000. So that's okay. So yan. So balance natin also at 15,000. Tama? Okay, so what's next? Tapos na natin lahat ng accounts dito. So balik tayo kay cash disbursement. So we have here water bill, we have research and development, licenses, taxes, marketing, and equipment. So lahat din yan gagawan natin ng general ledger. So after natin gawan ng general ledger itong mga accounts na to, mag-proceed na tayo sa worksheet natin. So lahat ng mga nandito sa general ledger natin, so for example, we have cash, ilalagay lang natin dito. Ngayon, si cash, where do we reflect it? Is it part of your balance sheet or part of your income statement? Yes, Miss Jaylene. Yung cash natin.
Ma'am, balance sheet po.
Okay, so yung cash natin mag-appear siya sa balance sheet. So balikan natin yung general ledger. Sa general ledger natin, yung balance natin is nasa debit side. So yun ang magre-reflect sa worksheet natin. So that is 16,820 na debit sa cash. So cash, 16,820. Okay, so ano yung sunod natin? We have accounts receivable. Pero since ang balance natin sa accounts receivable is 0, hindi na natin yan i-reflect sa worksheet natin. And then we have our sales. Yung sales natin, Miss Baloke, saan natin ilalagay? Gracelyn? Wala. Okay, so Mr. David Gumnad, saan natin ilalagay yung sales natin? Is it part of your balance sheet or part of your income statement?
Ma'am, pwedeng paulit po yung ano po yung ano?
Tukan ka na eh. Yung sales natin, saan natin nilalagay? Part ba siya ng ating balance sheet or part ng income statement natin?
Income statement.
Okay, so part siya ng income statement. So, since sa general ledger natin, yung balance niya is nasa credit side, so ilalagay din natin siya sa credit side ng ating worksheet. So, we have here sales. We put it under income statement, credit side. Magkano na yon? That's at 7,000 pesos. Okay. So, same yung gagawin natin sa ating sales, sa ating natitirang part ng general ledger. So, we have business loan that is at credit side for 10,000. Ang business loan natin, saan natin ilalagay? Under balance sheet or under income statement? Under balance sheet or income statement?
Balance sheet, ma'am.
Balance sheet. Okay, so that is at 10,000. Personal investment, saan natin ilalagay?
Balance sheet.
Balance sheet din. Okay, so that is at 15,000 pesos. Ano pa yung nasa general ledger natin? So yung mga ito, water bills natin, that is at 380. Saan natin ilalagay ito?
Balance sheet pa rin, ma'am.
Balance sheet pa rin yung
Ay,
water bill?
joke lang. Income statement, ma'am.
Income statement, that is debit or credit?
Credit.
Credit siya.
Debit, ma'am.
Yung totoo, debit? Credit. Okay. So, balikan natin si water bill. Si water bill natin, nasa cash disbursement journal. So, kapag nasa cash disbursement journal, naglabas tayo ng pera. So, that is an automatic credit to our cash. So, yung heading natin dito, these accounts in our heading, these are all debit. Okay? So, ulitin natin, si water bill, that is under your income statement, debit side. So, debit natin, 380. So, same with our research and development. I will send this Excel file sa inyo later on. Tapos, tapusin nyo na lang. So, gawan nyo ng ledger tong mga to, ha? Para hindi siya time-consuming during our workshop. So, same concept. Ilagay lang natin itong mga to sa general ledger natin. And then, after reflecting it in our general ledger, we will summarize it in our worksheet. So, kapag nakompleto na natin si worksheet natin, pwede na tayo makagawa ng financial statement. Okay, so research and development, 3,200. So from here, tutuloy nyo na lang mamaya. So we have here financial statements. So we have blue culture. We have our balance sheet. And then this is for the year ended December 31, 2021. Okay, so sa balance sheet natin, as always, ano ang unang nag-appear? That is your asset. And then, ang sunod dyan is your liabilities and equity. Okay. So, sa worksheet natin, meron ba tayong asset? Meron ba tayong asset sa ating worksheet?
Yes, ma'am.
Ano yon?
Cash po.
Okay, so we have cash. So, kung ano yung nandito sa ating worksheet, ita-transfer lang natin sa financial statement natin. So, for example, this one cash, debit at 16,820. So, cash, 16,820. Meron pa ba tayong asset? I think we have yung sa ito, wait. License, yes. So for our equipment, we have 5,000. For our marketing, 4,000, and then taxes, 600. Okay. So, ayan, na-summarize na natin. So, transfer lang natin. So, for our balance sheet, we have our cash and we have our equipment. So cash at 16,820 and then equipment at 5,000. Tama? So our total assets is at 21,820. So next naman, we have yung liabilities and equity natin. So same, we summarize yung liabilities and equity natin. So we go back to our worksheet. Meron ba tayong liability dito? Sa balance sheet natin, meron ba tayong liability?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So magkano?
10,000 po, business loan.
Okay, so we have business loan for 10,000. How about yung equity natin? Meron ba?
Yes, ma'am.
Magkano?
Yung sa personal investment po na
Ano yon? So that is at 15,000 pesos. So we have here total liability and equity that is at 25. Okay. So, si equity natin, kailangan pa natin i-reflect yung net income natin dyan. So, yung net income natin, manggagaling from our income statement. So, magkano yung net income natin? So, i-total lang ulit natin yung mga debits and credits natin. Okay. So, we have here our sales na 7,000 and then we have our expenses as recorded here sa debit side natin. So, ang total sales natin is at 7,000. Ang total expenses natin is at 10,180. So, ano ang mangyayari dyan? Ano ang labas niyan?
net loss, ma'am.
Net loss. Saklap naman mo, net loss agad. Okay. So, we have here net loss of 3,180. Bakit tayo nagkaroon ng loss? It is because it is still the part of our beginning pa lang ng operations natin. So kung mapapansin nyo, andyan pa yung mga inabsorb pa natin yung mga expenses natin as to our research and development, pati yung sa mga taxes and licenses natin. But anyway, as we continue with our operations, magkakaroon na tayo ng gain kasi at least tapos na tayo when it comes to our expenses sa ating licenses and taxes. So we have here a net loss of 3,180. So we need to reflect that in our statement. So that is negative 3,180. So kapag isasum na natin to, it should be equal with your total assets as well. Okay, so I think you can do your income statement. So the same, you need to put yung heading natin. So Blue Culture, and then income statement, and then as of the year ended December 31, 2021. So, ang ilalagay nyo sa income statement ninyo is same as this one. So you record your sales and then you record your expenses. So after that, you deduct yung expenses sa sales ninyo, magre-reflect na dyan yung net loss ninyo at 3,180. So we have here your balance sheet and then you do your income statement. So far, may tanong? Questions? May tanong po ba?
Wala, ma'am.
Naintindihan yung recording?
Yes po.
Lahat-lahat? Yes po. Mr. Gumnad,
Si Mr. Gumnad ang MVP.
laging makulit. Most, MMP siya. Most makulit person. Yes. Okay. So, with that, so as you register with the Bureau of Internal Revenue, you will encounter this, ito yung mga ma-encounter nyo na kailangan yung i-comply. So first, you need to comply with your books of account. So yan na yung ginawa natin kanina. And then also, you need to do your registration. So that is annually, every January yan. Huwag niyong kakalimutan to kasi malaki ang penalty niyan. And you are not allowed to do your business without complying with this annual registration fee. So I think this is 500 pesos. And then next to that is you need to pay your percentage tax. So this percentage tax will be based on your gross sales. So ito is paid quarterly. So we have 4 quarters. And then same with your income tax that is paid quarterly. And then you have your first quarter, second quarter, and third quarter. Tapos yung pang fourth quarter na, yan na yung sa annual income tax ninyo. So there are also some other requirements or documents that you need to comply with depending sa negosyo ninyo. But don't worry kasi yung mga additional compliance na yan would be indicated in your COR or your Certificate of Registration. So kapag mag-register kayo sa BIR, bibigyan nila kayo nitong yellow form na to. So that, dyan nakasulat yung mga PIN ninyo, yung name ng business ninyo, yung registration date, yung address, and then ito yung pinaka-importante, yung tax type. So it is indicated here, kailangan niya magbayad ng income tax, ng value-added tax, ng registration fee, at ng withholding tax compensation. Okay, so depende yan sa negosyo ninyo. So kung wala kayong empleyado, then you are not required to pay for your withholding tax compensation. Pero kapag may empleyado kayo, you are required to pay for that. And then kapag nag-rent kayo, you are also required to pay for withholding tax final. Pero kapag hindi naman, wala na kayong babayaran ganun. So it depends on every business. So that is a sample certificate of registration. So here is a reminder. Do not only file, but you should also pay before your due date para maiwasan natin ang penalties, surcharges, and interest. Because at times, mas mataas pa yung penalties natin, yung surcharges natin kaysa sa tax na kailangan nating bayaran. Sayang din yon, additional profit sana sa inyo yon. Okay? So that's it. Thank you. And I think I'll give it back to Sir Carl.
Okay, thank you, Ma'am Kenji Kantala, for the workshop for the bookkeeping. Reminders lang everyone, I hope you have learned the basics of bookkeeping for today kasi it is something you will do for your business implementation too. Ganito yung mangyayari kasi, di ba? On your business plan, you have a projected sales. Ayan. One way for us to assess kung naging successful ba ang business nyo if you can achieve yung sales or income na linagay nyo from the business plan. And we are very generous kasi hindi naman 100% dapat nyo i-achieve. Usually, 50% of the net income projected, yun dapat ang ma-achieve nyo by the end of business implementation 2. And the only way to know kung na-achieve nyo ba yung at least 50% is through bookkeeping. That is why you need to do yung bookkeeping. Yan po ang i-check namin. Kaya, I really hope na you can apply this training and workshop by next sem. Maybe we could have a refresher again. Kung gusto ni Ma'am Kenji before we start, no, a refresher. Anyway, so thank you everyone for attending. Before we go, may ipopost ako na attendance form sa Google Chat, dito sa ating chat. So make sure to answer that until 12 only. Okay? Ayan. Ayan o. No sharing. Kasi may mga ano dito hindi nakapag-attend. So this is exclusive for those who attend lang. Alright, so once again, thank you for attending and I will see you soon. Okay, so you can log out now. Goodbye. Again, do not forget to answer yung ating attendance. Thank you.